An internally displaced person is someone who is forced to leave their home but who remains within their country's borders. They are often referred to as refugees, although they do not fall within the legal definitions of a refugee. At the end of 2014, it was estimated there were 38.2 million IDPs worldwide, the highest level since 1989, the first year for which global statistics on IDPs are available. The countries with the largest IDP populations were Syria, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Pakistan. The United Nations and the UNHCR support monitoring and analysis of worldwide IDPs through the Geneva-based Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, whereas refugee has an authoritative definition under the 1951 Refugee Convention. There is no universal legal definition of internally displaced persons, only a regional treaty for African countries. However, a United Nations report, Guiding Principles on Internal Displacement, uses the definition of persons or groups of persons who have been forced or obliged to flee or to leave their homes or places of habitual residence, in particular as a result of or in order to avoid the effects of armed conflict, situations of generalized violence, violations of human rights or natural or human-made disasters, and who have not crossed an internationally recognized state border. While the above stresses two important elements of internal displacement, it is important to note that, rather than a strict definition, the guiding principles offer a descriptive identification of the category of persons whose needs are the concern of the guiding principles. In this way, the document intentionally steers toward flexibility rather than legal precision, as the words, in particular, indicate that the list of reasons for displacement is not exhaustive. However, as Erin Mooney has pointed out, global statistics on internal displacement generally count only IDPs uprooted by conflict and human rights violations. Moreover, a recent study has recommended that the IDP concept should be defined even more narrowly, to be limited to persons displaced by violence. Thus, despite the non-exhaustive reasons of internal displacement, many consider IDPs as those who would be defined as refugees if they were to cross an international border. Hence, the term refugees in all but name is often applied to IDPs. It is very difficult to get accurate figures for internally displaced persons because populations aren't constant. IDPs may be returning home while others are fleeing. Others may periodically return to IDP camps to take advantage of humanitarian aid. While the case of IDPs in large camps such as those in Darfur, Western Sudan, are relatively well reported, it is very difficult to assess those IDPs who flee to larger towns and cities. It is necessary in many instances to supplement official figures with additional information obtained from operational humanitarian organizations on the ground. Thus, the 24.5 million figure must be treated as an estimate. Additionally, most official figures only include those displaced by conflict or natural disasters. Development-induced IDPs often are not included in assessments. It has been estimated that between 70 and 80% of all IDPs are women and children. 50% of internally displaced people and refugees were thought to be in urban areas in 2010. Many of them in protracted displacement with little likelihood of ever returning home. A 2013 study found that these protracted urban displacements had not been given due weight by international aid and governance, as historically they had focused on rural camp displacement. Responses. The study argues that this protracted urban displacement needs a fundamental change in the approach to those who are displaced and their host societies. They note that reframing responses to urban displacement will also involve human rights and development actors and local and national governments. They call for a change in the narrative around the issue as needed to reflect ingenuity and fortitude displayed by displaced populations, the opportunities for self-sufficiency and safety represented by urban areas, and that the displaced can make a contribution to their host societies. An updated country-by-country breakdown can be found online. The problem of protecting and assisting IDPs is not a new issue. In international law, it is the responsibility of the government concerned to provide assistance and protection for the IDPs in their country. However, as many of the displaced are a result of civil conflict and violence or where the authority of the central state is in doubt, there is no local authority willing to provide assistance and protection. It has been estimated that some 5 million IDPs in 11 countries are without any significant humanitarian assistance from their governments. Under these circumstances, rehabilitation policies on humanitarian grounds should be aimed at reducing inequality of opportunity among th.